Yeah, I know a lot of people are doing their own thing today. Either they doing that typical Sunday nap, after church Sunday nap. Some people going out today. You know what's interesting? A lot of you know I just made a stream about my son and then an update for that. So a lot of people were wondering, like Father's Day. And I realized something. I've known this before, but I think it hit me this Father's Day because I've been thinking about this a lot. And I'm grateful. And I've kind of said this to some of you all in previous videos. And so I'm grateful that, people in my church like, hey, what are y'all doing? Y'all going out to dinner? Y'all doing this? And I said, you know what? We might do that. But I felt like, while I appreciate that people, our nation has set aside to honor parents. You got Mother's Day, you got Father's Day. I appreciate that because I think in a culture of toxic masculinity and in a culture of the patriarchy and all this stuff, I appreciate that dads are still being that there's still a moment where dads and moms are being honored, and I think it's cool because the way that the culture is shifting, the culture is moving away from parental authority as a real thing. Like in some places, depending on how your kids identify sexually, some school systems can take your kids away from you. They can usurp your authority as a mom or a dad. Because they feel like they know better than you for your children. So I think in an era where the authority of the parent is largely being taken away, or people are growing up and having these, trauma about the way they were parented as children, I do think it's still cool that people will honor like dads and moms in our culture. But I want to say a couple things just in reflection of Father's Day. And I'm not going to repeat stuff I've said already about my sons and, what happened a couple days ago, which I've shared with you all if you were able to watch the video. I will say this one thing that may be similar to what I said on yesterday's video on an update on my son, and then the video before that, the day before. I am glad as people were asking me like, hey, Pastor Kurt, what are you going to do? After church today. They were asking me, am I going to do something? And I said, I don't know. I'm not sure. And the reason why I said that was not so much because I'm indecisive, but it was because Father's Day for me personally, it doesn't validate me as a dad in my particular situation. I'm grateful that Father's Day does validate the role of dads, and I'm saying dads, not fathers. And let me make a distinction real quick so you know what I mean. I'm a dad. I'm not a father, right? I'm a dad. It's Happy Dad's Day to me. Fathers are people that have kids, right? You can have sex with a woman and get her pregnant. She has a baby, and you're a father. Dads are people who change diapers, right? Dads are with those kids. I'm a dad. I'm not a father. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, a few months ago, NBA basketball player Anthony Edwards, he's one of the star players of the Minnesota, is it the Timberwolves? Yeah. He basically, a story came out that he's like 23 years old, multimillionaire, but he had 3 kids with 3 different women. And one story that went viral was, I didn't look into it to know how true this was, but one story that went viral was that he paid a woman, like he said, I don't want nothing to do with the baby. He gave her a sum of money. Someone said $1 million. Someone said millions. I don't think courts would award you $1 million would take care of a kid for 18 years. But he basically gave this woman money and said, I don't want to have nothing to do with the baby, right? So he's a father. Men like him are fathers. Men who had, who were with women intimately, they got pregnant, and those women delivered babies. Those are fathers. Anthony Edwards is a father, and I'm not saying this in a self-righteous way because I don't know this dude. I don't know his situation, but I'm not a father if that's what a father is. I'm a dad. Fathers make babies, dads change diapers, right? I'm a dad. My kids have been with me their whole lives. They know no one else in that role. They never had to worry about that. You know, I grew up without my dad in my home. I used to give my mom Father's Day cards for a long time because my dad was not around. And then as I got older, I stopped giving her Father's Day cards because on one level, while she did play those roles, a woman can't really raise a man to be a man. What a woman can do is teach a boy how to be sensitive to what that woman thinks men should be. And I think that's honorable. My mom was a single mom, and there are plenty of single moms that do a fantastic job raising boys to be men in what they think a man should be. But to be a man, I think you really need a dad or some older men to really kind of help you understand what it takes, because it's just a unique thing. Just like being a woman is a unique thing. God created us in those ways. But I'm not a father. I'm a dad. My kids have always been with me. I changed diapers. I wiped those boys' butts when they stunk. One of my sons, I kid you not, I lied to you not, I thought his diapers were demonic at some point. I was like, these smell like satanic. He had a satanic buttocks. I don't know what was going on when he was little. But he's a pretty good kid now. But man, when he was little, I thought his butt was possessed. His diapers used to crank. Them joints you always knew it was him. Like, dang, bro. You be like, you ever smell something that smells so bad that as soon as you smell it, you just got angry. You just send an anger. You'd be chilling like, yeah, man, so oh, man. It was like that. It was just like an instant anger. Like, it was like I just pushed the anger button smelling his butt. I remember those days. I remember all of that. I watched these boys grow up. They don't know what it's like to not have their dad there. And they have affectionate names for me. They call me dad when other people are around, but they call me other names when it's just me and them. And I appreciate that. But one of the things reason why I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do today, because, the weather is kind of off, but I realized like I don't look for validation from my kids on Father's Day. Now it could be because they're younger. And so I would be taking them out and spending my money for them to say Happy Father's Day. I'd be dazzling. But I think the real reason is, I just have the kind of relationship with them where I don't need the validation of this day to know that they love me, right? I'm grateful. They came in this morning with all these little snacks and stuff that they know I'm not supposed to eat because I'm fat, but they brought them anyway. But that's what they could do. They're teenagers. And they gave me a card. Loved it, right? That's all I needed. I don't need much because I have that relationship. Now, maybe when they get older and they actually really understand, like, wow, I'm out here doing my own thing. They got their own money and they're grateful for their dad. That might mean something then. But like right now, I just don't need that. So I'm grateful for the Father's Day. I appreciate it. But I've always tried to live like my kids have the type of relationship with me where we're affectionate. We say we love each other, proud of you, all of that stuff. So like Father's Day to me is not a day where they're going to really do that in a way that they don't. So I didn't really feel like that. But I want to shout out all the dads, because I think fathers are great, and a lot of people, but dads are something different. Dads are on the grind. Dads are there. Dads are the ones who have to study their children and know. Dads, especially guys, dads are the ones that have to look at their sons and try to worry about, like, okay, how are they going to be? How are they going to be men? Moms worry about like how they feel. Dads worry about like how are they processing the world in certain ways. And I'm not saying moms don't do that. So please don't go in the comment section and turn this into something I'm saying. I'm just saying, as a dad, you have to, especially if you have sons, you have to watch differently. But then if you have daughters, you got to be careful, because you're thinking about the man who's going to marry your daughter. You know how men are. There's so many things that are just crazy that parents go through. Because it's Dad's Day, I want to talk about dads. I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that we honor dads, but I'm also aware that like fathers can bring children into the world, but dad teach them about who they are, and if you're a Christian, about who the Lord is and how to honor the Lord in that way. I was telling the boys a couple months ago, like, it was just random conversation. We were talking about if they get married one day, what kind of women they should marry. And I remember one of the things I told them was, look, make sure obviously you want to marry a woman, assuming that you guys will be believers, you want to marry a woman that loves the Lord. You want to marry a woman that has kids. And I said, but a lot of stuff you don't know what your wife is going to be like. You love a person for who they are in the moment when you marry them. You don't know what it's going to be like. So I said, marry people that you actually like, because so much of marriage is about just being able to have a friendship more than romance, that you'll spend more time being friends and being able to just enjoy being around each other than you will being in intimate moments. But I said that because you want to marry, you want to have that, because when you have kids, it's just different. And I want you boys to grow up and love your kids the way that you've been loved. I want your kids to feel comfortable coming to you, hugging you, giving you kisses and all that. Not just when they're little. There are times when you tolerate things as a dad because you're thinking about the bigger picture. There were things that I did that I didn't care what it meant. I was tired when they asked me or they wanted to show me this. And I was thinking about when they're like the age they are now. Like, will they trust me? And here's the thing I've known. One of the philosophies I had as a dad was like, look, my kids couldn't choose if I'm their dad. That was the Lord. He chose these kids to be my sons and them to be my dad. But they do get to choose if I'm their friend, though. Like, kids do not grow up thinking, oh, I want to tell my parents, my dad, everything. You gotta earn that in a sense. And so I want to shout out the dads, man, who are there for their kids, who are with them day in and day out as best as they can. I got a buddy of mine who has 4 kids with 2 different women. He's not married to them. But I tell him all the time, man, hey, bro, and we grew up together, but I'll tell him, like, bro, I'm proud of you, man, because, like, you're involved in your kid's life. You're a dad. You're not a father. Fathers have children. Dads raise them, right? Dads change diapers. And I said, you're a dad, bro. Your kids are there. You sacrifice. You're there for your kids. You make sure you're with them and all of it. So I just want to shout out the dads, man. The guys who are really putting in work. And in the world of toxic masculinity, patriarchy, and all the negativity about the authority of the role of dad, I just appreciate all the dads out there, man. It's not easy what we have to do, and it's hard. And when you have a situation like I had the other day with my son, what happened to him, you just realize, man, it's a precious thing to be a dad. So I appreciate all the dads that are out there. Shout outs to you, and to the fathers, learn how to be dads, man. You know, I learned how to be dads. I think Anthony Edwards right now is a terrible father. But maybe one day he'll be a heck of a dad. And so I don't want to be anyone's father. I'm a dad. My boys, I'm in the trenches with them. And by God's grace, I'm going to be with them as long as he allows me to, but not just there as a provider or there as I brought you into the world, but I'm there helping you understand and navigate in the world that you live in. So from me to you, happy Dad's Day. Thank you. Love your kids, all of that stuff. And I will see you when I see you tomorrow. You know, I got a couple crazy things to talk about. So we were going to get into something crazy on Friday, but then that thing happened with my son, and that's kind of dominated the last couple days for me in this space. But I want to say happy Dad's Day. I will see you, Lord willing, tomorrow for day 14 of 100. In the next couple days, we're going to talk. We're going to talk about some things. All right, enjoy your time. Let your kids know you love them. Don't wait for them to tell you that they love you. Grace and peace.